Hello, my name is Kim Allen, and I'm going to share the results of our recent Volkswagen survey with you. Before we review the survey results, I would like to share what the purpose of the survey was. Washington is eligible to receive $112.7 million from the federal Volkswagen settlement. The money is intended to be used to reduce past and future nitrogen oxide emissions from the affected vehicles and to benefit sensitive populations and highly impacted communities that were disproportionately affected by the emissions from those vehicles. The specific ways Washington can use the funds is limited to the requirements of the court-ordered consent decree. We shared with you some guiding principles and project priorities and asked you to weigh in on them. The goal we drafted and shared with you stated the funds should be used to fully mitigate total lifetime excess of nitrogen oxide emissions from the affected Volkswagen vehicles. The overarching and guiding principles were to maximize air quality and public health, that projects chosen will ensure cost effectiveness, and that projects will benefit the sensitive populations such as children, the elderly, and highly impacted communities. We heard from 720 people representing a broad range of groups. The largest group were private citizens at 71%. The second largest group was local governments at 11.1%. And the third largest group identified as a business interest group at 7.4%. Now, let's look at the results. We asked people to share how satisfied they were with the goal we proposed for our plan. Out of the 724 participants, 84.67% were either very satisfied or somewhat satisfied with the goal. 10.22% were neither satisfied nor dissatisfied, and 5.11% were not satisfied. We also asked participants to share how satisfied they were with our three proposed overarching and guiding principles. The principles we propose to include in our plan will help guide project selection. When we looked at all three of the proposed principles, the majority of survey participants were either very or somewhat satisfied. 95.43% were satisfied with the goal of maximizing air quality and public health. 2.22% were neither satisfied nor dissatisfied, and 2.35% were not satisfied. When asked about ensuring cost effectiveness, 86.57% were satisfied, 10.49% were neither, and 2.94% were not satisfied. When asked about choosing projects that benefit sensitive populations and highly impacted communities, 87.78% were satisfied, 6.81% were neither satisfied nor dissatisfied, and 5.41% were not satisfied. To summarize, the proposed principle with the highest satisfaction was to maximize air quality and public health. The least satisfied proposed principle was to ensure cost effectiveness. We then asked what proposed principles are the most important to you. Based on your feedback, you suggested that we improve air quality for communities that have historically borne a disproportionate share of the air pollution burden in Washington. You also asked that we consider projects that provide air quality benefits beyond nitrogen oxide reductions, and that chosen projects will maximize air quality benefits that improve public health. We will achieve our goal of fully mitigating total lifetime excess of nitrogen oxide emissions from the affected Volkswagen vehicles based on these revised principles. We'll now look at the responses to our question about the proposed project priorities. We intend to include these proposed project priorities in the mitigation plan we are developing to help us prioritize how we select projects. Keep in mind that chosen projects don't necessarily have to meet every priority. The overall average majority, nearly 90% of the survey participants, were either very satisfied, satisfied, or somewhat satisfied with the proposed project priorities. A small percentage, about 5%, were very or somewhat dissatisfied with the proposed priorities. The top three proposed priority participants were most satisfied with were to provide air quality co-benefits beyond nitrogen oxide reductions, to achieve substantial additional emission reductions beyond what would already occur without these funds, and to leverage additional public and private funds like congestion mitigation air quality grants or Department of Energy grants. Based on your feedback, we revised our project priorities to include accelerate the adoption of electric vehicles, accelerate fleet turnover to cleaner engines, achieve substantial additional emission reductions beyond what would already occur absent the trust funding, ensure cost effectiveness, leverage additional public and private funds, promote transformational change in vehicle emissions reductions, and to use proven technologies over experimental or emerging technologies, such as demonstration and pilot projects that only offer potential benefits. You may be asking, what's next? The court and the appointed trustee, Wilmington Trust, are currently finalizing the terms of the trust agreement. Within 60 days of filing the trust agreement with the court, Washington must submit documentation to become a beneficiary. The trustee has up to 120 days from the date the trust agreement is filed with the court to formally deem Washington a beneficiary. We will have 90 days after being deemed a beneficiary to submit and make publicly available our mitigation plan to the trustee. We are currently developing our draft plan. We will continue to solicit and consider your input on our draft plan prior to submitting it to the trustee. We expect to make our draft plan available for public comment in late summer of 2017. After we submit our final mitigation plan to the trustee, we will begin the process to solicit project proposals. A date for this process has not yet been determined. Meanwhile, you can begin conceptualizing project proposals using these guidelines and the eligible categories that are outlined in the consent decree. We will keep you updated on these important dates as they are determined. To stay updated on these developments, sign up for our listserv at tinyurl.com/VW Federal Action. If you have specific questions, please email us at vwsettlement@ecy.wa.gov. Or you can contact Brett Rude at brett.rude@ecy.wa.gov. Or Mike Boyer at mike.boyer@ecy.wa.gov. For more information on the settlement, visit Ecology's website at ecy.wa.gov and search for Volkswagen. That concludes our survey results webinar. Thank you for your valuable input.